Commitment shows up in your life through action. You can tell the difference between people who are committed and those who don't feel worthy. The people who are committed are busy doing it. The people who don't feel worthy, like a guy I talked to last night, will tell you things like, hey, I'd like to do what you're doing, but I just don't want the responsibility. The company I work for is taking good care of me. I said, let me tell you something. Once you increase your sense of worthiness, you won't even be able to open your mouth and say that somebody is taking care of you. You'll want to take care of yourself. But see, because he doesn't feel worthy despite being intelligent, despite working 17 years for a major corporation, despite the company spending thousands of dollars training him, he still holds himself back. He has the book knowledge, but his attitude, his vision of himself, his sense of deservingness all tell him you can't have that. So he fabricates all kinds of excuses for why he can't have it. Robert Anthony said something profound. You can only have two things in life, reasons or results. Notice, reasons don't count. Folks will always point to reasons why they are not living their dreams, why they are not manifesting their greatness. They will always be able to point those things out, but none of those things count. The only thing that counts is results. And results don't lie, ladies and gentlemen, they tell it all. Judge a tree by the fruit that it bears, not the ones it talks about, not the ones it wishes for, not the ones it thinks about or affirms, but the fruit it actually bears. Now, let's take a look. I believe that all of us are committed, but some of us are producing results in our lives that we don't particularly like or find distasteful. I don't believe that you can be a participant in life and not be committed. You are either committed to mediocrity or you are committed to greatness. You are either committed to being productive or you are committed to being non-productive. You are either committed to being happy or you are committed to being unhappy. See, whatever you are doing, however you spend your time, that tells you exactly who you are. So think about what it is you want to create in your life. Once I look at how you commit your time, once I do an evaluation of how you spend your time, I can tell you exactly what you are committed to. People say they have dreams, that they want to open a business, that they want to do something different from what they are currently doing. They don't like their jobs. They are unhappy. They are unfulfilled. People say they want to improve their income level. Look at how they spend their time. The commitment of their time, how they use it, will really tell the truth. People say, I'd like to do better, but you don't find them in vocational or technical schools upgrading their skills and knowledge. Their time usage tells the truth. People say they want to normalize their weight, that they want to be healthy, but every time you see them, they're eating poorly. That tells you that they are committed to being obese for the rest of their lives. People say they want to stop smoking, yet they light up while they say it. People say, I want to stop drinking, yet every time you see them, they reek of alcohol. That tells you what's going on. You don't have to listen to what they say, just watch what they do. Commitment shows up in your life through what you do. On the other hand, you can make the commitment that you don't like the results you currently have and you are going to do something about it. That power is available to all of us. Take Carol Hatfield, for example. Carol, who lives in Detroit, was a single mother who decided she wanted to go into business for herself. She didn't have enough money to do it, but she wanted to open a health food store. So she sold her car and used the money to start her business in a little storefront, a tiny hole in the wall. She rode her bicycle to work. Then, when she made a little more money, she bought a motor scooter and did that for a long time. Today, she is very successful. She now owns 3 health food stores. She said, it was harder to struggle less, but I did it. I made the commitment to do it, and I did it. So why is it that people are frightened by commitment? Because the word commitment intimidates a lot of people. Why? Because commitment means you have to deliver. See, most people, when you ask them to do something, will say, I'll try. I'll try is an escape clause for when they don't come through. It's really a polite no. They just don't have the courage to tell you no. So they say, I'll try. Hey, I need you to come to this meeting. I'll try. What do you mean you'll try? Are you going to lean toward the meeting? Try to sit down. You either do or you don't. Try to take this pencil out of my hand. You either do or you don't. There is no such thing as try. Most people like to use that language because they don't want to commit themselves. Because commitment means, among many things, that no excuse is acceptable. That's what it means, no excuse. If you decide you're going to do something, then if it becomes hard, do it hard. If it becomes difficult, so what? If it becomes inconvenient, so what? A lot of people made a commitment to come here tonight, but they looked outside, saw the rain, noticed the temperature dropped, felt the cold, and decided to give up on their commitment. And that's exactly what they do with their dreams. They don't honor their commitment to themselves. Let me tell you what happens when you don't keep your commitments. First, it begins to deplete your self-esteem and erodes your self-image. It weakens your faith in yourself. You don't feel good when you don't keep your commitments. Second, you begin to develop weak relationships. People begin to realize they can't depend on you, that they can't rely on you because you don't keep your word. You establish a reputation for being unreliable. Just think, what would your life be like if you decided to keep your commitments? What would all our lives be like if we decided to keep our commitments? What if we only spoke of doing things we were actually going to do? What if just for a week we made a commitment to ourselves that we wouldn't say "I will" unless we meant it? Just for 7 days, try it. See what your life can be like. Let me tell you something, if you follow through, if you keep your commitment to the commitment, by the end of those 7 days, you will feel strong and powerful. Because every time you honor your commitment, it empowers you. Whatever discipline is required, whatever effort it takes, do it. So my suggestion is this. Number one, commit yourself to living in the present. I saw the movie Dead Poets Society with Robin Williams, and it had a line in there, "Seize the moment." Many of us are unable to move forward, to develop, to manifest our greatness because we spend too much time looking back or worrying about the future. Seize the moment. You cannot go into the future and manifest your greatness. You must act now. When you have various things in your life blocking you, let's look at how we can begin to keep our commitments, remembering what Dr. Robert Anthony said about results. When you keep your commitments, you're able to produce different kinds of results in your life. So how can we keep our commitments? And do we keep all commitments? No, we don't. You will not be at 100%. However, you will have a greater percentage rate of maintaining your commitments to yourself, whatever those things might be. If it's going into business, if it's changing a habit that you know works against you, if it's overcoming self-destructive behavior, if it's retraining your thinking, if it's reinventing yourself, if it's trying to design your relationship differently, all of us have the possibility, by focusing and really harnessing our attention and concentrating on it, to honor our commitments in those particular areas. So, number one, make it a priority. See, no one would get on an airplane if they thought their chances of getting to their destination were as good as their luggage. And I say the reason that you will reach your destination more times than your luggage will is because the airline, I'm glad that they do, has made it a priority to move human beings from one point to the other safely, not just send you off to Boston or someplace with your luggage. So I'm not really upset when my luggage doesn't show up. I'm glad they delivered me because they've made me a priority. They have made delivering you to your destination important. So if you want your commitment, whatever you decide you're going to do, make sure you make it important. Make sure it is a priority. Keep it before you. The other thing is, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to begin to create, and in beginning to manifest your greatness and strengthen your level of commitment, it's really about exercising your will. Find something that you want to do on your goal, one action step, but make sure it stretches you, that it challenges you, but is doable. For example, this year I decided that I was going to exercise. So I started out doing just 10 sit-ups and 10 push-ups. I knew I could do that and not get upset about it. I could do that without thinking. So I started out small. Now I'm up to 50. But if I had tried to do 50 starting out, I wouldn't still be doing it. So I started doing it in manageable segments. Do that. And that strengthens your will. So now my commitment is strengthened and fortified by the activity of actually doing it. Now I can expand and build from there. When I decided to begin managing my money differently, I started saving 5% of my income. Then I increased it to 10%, then 15%. So now I have disciplined myself to live off 75% of my income. It took discipline to do that, but I started watching how I was spending my money, keeping a log and following myself. So you want to begin to find something that is manageable, something you know you can do. The next thing in keeping your commitments to yourself is to have some friends who will hold you accountable, who won't let you off the hook, who won't tolerate anything less than the best from you. People who will support you in this new way of being, in this new state of consciousness. Another important thing is having a contingency plan. See, many times when you make a commitment to do something, there are other variables that will happen, things you can't control or perhaps didn't think about. So you want to have some other plans in place. You want to become creative. See, most people don't keep their commitments because when something goes wrong, they just stop. They don't have a contingency plan, so they don't know what to do next. Start being creative. If you challenge yourself, many times you'll say, I don't know what to do. But I always ask myself, but if you did know what to do, what would it be? That activates another part of my mind, and I start thinking about the possibilities and experimenting. But many of us just stop dead in our tracks. I don't know what to do. You do know what to do. You've got genius in you. Challenge yourself, push yourself, make yourself come up with something. Use your imagination. And what you will find is that you know more than you realize, that you are more creative and more resourceful than you ever thought you were. And as you do that, the more you do it, the easier it will become. At first, it's going to be a struggle. But after you reach a certain level of consciousness, you'll ask yourself, how is it that I didn't see this before? At the level that I'm managing my business now, they say consciousness is what we are. I literally look at myself and ask, how is it that I didn't do this before? Why couldn't I see this before? And the reason I didn't see it before was because I didn't challenge myself. I didn't put myself out there. See, the reason that most of us go through life never discovering our true greatness, literally walking, breathing corpses, is that the uncommitted life isn't worth living. Why? Because it doesn't produce anything. See, you only make things happen. Your life only counts, and you only make a difference when you are committed. The people who make a commitment with their lives, the people who make a commitment to their customers, their families, their relationships, are the people who make the greatest impact in life. What is commitment? Commitment is the salesman who says, look here, I'm going to make $1,000 today, and I'm not going home. You can turn the lights out. The janitors could be here running the vacuum cleaner. I'm not leaving until I do it. I used to be a door-to-door salesman. I had X number of TVs. I had a minimum amount that I knew I had to sell every day in order to provide for my mother, who was ill at the time and had lost her job at the cafeteria because of arthritis. And I said, I'm going to go door to door. And sometimes I wouldn't come home until 1 at night knocking on doors. People would open up. What do you want? Would you like to buy a nice working television set? No money down? No. What about an Emerson TV? No. Thank you very much. Do you know anybody else who might be interested? No. Thank you kindly. Knock on another door. Hello, would you like to buy a nice working television set? No money down? No. Get away from our door. Thank you very kindly. Do you know anybody else? Yeah, my cousin lives 2 doors down. Thank you very kindly. I'll tell him you sent me. When I got to his cousin's house, hey, your cousin told me you wanted to buy a television set. Told me to come here and talk to you. We've got a special discount for you. Yes, come in. I'm interested. I would just keep right on. I would not go home until I did it. It's an interesting thing, ladies and gentlemen, that when we put ourselves in a situation where we say we're going to do it, it puts us in another zone where the universe responds to us. When you have that kind of consciousness, the universe responds to the man or woman who refuses to be denied, because that is your commitment.